Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of our podcast. This is Corban, the Serpent Skipwith.
And Ren, the Berserker Marabou.
And this is SAGAS.
SAGAS. So close.
We tried.
Yeah. First attempt.
Good times. Good times. So, last week we talked about SAGAS, your album, and that was a fun time. And today we're going to be talking, chosen by Ren himself, the album Love Metal by the band H.I.M, released in 2003.
Sweet. Yeah, so today's episode should be called the SAGAS Love Metal Podcast.
I'll make sure to do that. I'll make sure.
Yeah. Oh, as soon as we were talking about this album, well, not this album, we mentioned H.I.M, right? On the last episode. So I thought it was a decent segue to get onto this. But it's really interesting how this album was, like the band nearly broke up just before this. They were on like a really big tour, and shit was hitting the fan, and everybody was like at each other's, proverbials, and it just got stressful, I think, and they were supposed to, go into the studio, but they weren't sure, and then they just said, right, let's do it. And they went in, and I think it was the best move they made, because I think it's one of their best.
I
think amazing job. So it would have been what, their fourth album?
Fourth album, yeah. Because I'm thinking there's Deep Shadows and Brilliant Highlights, Razor Blade Romance, and then I think. Let me search myself, because on my end, it's only showing 2 albums before it, not 3.
Oh.
Let me discography.
We got 2 extra albums in Ireland.
Oh, Greatest Love Songs, 666.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
And see, the thing I find really interesting is, because I've listened to all H.I.M albums, I've listened to them all, and it's interesting because to me, Love Metal is the latest album since their debut that has that real, sorrowful feel to it. I feel like Razor Blade Romance and Deep Shadows, they're a lot more darker, a lot more, not depressing, but a lot more darker in nature. But Greatest Love Songs and Love Metal, they have that same romantic sorrowfulness to it, like a real tragic love story. While the other 2, to me, sound just like goth, like more dark, more heavy kind of album. So I find it interesting to me that they're returning to their debut type aesthetic.
Yeah, and I was in an interesting time too, because it was 2003. So at the time, it was all new metal, and it was taking over, and they just decided to jump in a studio in Helsinki in Finland, and they got it mixed by an American guy, as far as I know, with a very Irish sounding name, Mark O'Donoghue. Very, very Irish sounding. But it was like Scream Studios in California. So it was interesting to hear the album recorded in cold Helsinki, and then flown over to, I can imagine the record being on a tape and flown over on a jet plane first class to California to the heat, But and your man, he did do a really interesting mix on it. It kind of sounds like it shouldn't work at times. But I think that's what made it really unique sounding. Especially at the time, like I say, with all the new metal going around.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, to me, this is also, and this isn't a negative thing in my opinion. It's just something I've noticed. I think Love Metal was probably the first. How do I say this? I think it was the first mainstream album by H.I.M. It's the song Buried Alive by Love. I remember that blew up. When that first came out, that song hit all the metal radios, all the metal stations, like MTV Metal.
MTV.
It hit everything, and I was obsessed with that single when it first came out. So I do believe this is their first real shot at mainstream, even though technically their song on the album, the song on Love Song 666, that song Join Me in Death.
Yeah.
That song was the first major hit by them because it got used on Grey's Anatomy or something.
Yeah.
It got used on some show.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that song made them on the charts. But to me, love metal just sounds it sounds like highly produced. It sounds premium. It sounds mainstream. There's so many bangers on this album.
Yeah. Sure, like even the likes of having Bam Margera made the video, right, for Buried Alive by Love. And they had Juliette Lewis in it and stuff. And it was just a really cool kind of had like a dark element to it because it was like an empty theater, a bit spooky almost. But like Vil Vallo looked absolutely badass as that video was going on, and Juliette Lewis was walking around like obviously a Hollywood, I suppose you would have said A-list actress at the time. I just thought it was a really interesting, very cool kind of way to just explode this album. You know, I think they played it very clever Finland lads. Which, by the way, before I forget, our managers for Ren Marabou and Berserkers, Ren Marabou and Berserker plug, are from Finland. Taja and Kimmo. They're two amazing people from Finland. So I just, as soon as we're talking about Finland, I felt it was wrong to not mention them, you know?
Yeah, nice. You know, it's funny because I first got introduced to him, funny enough, from Bam's show Viva La Bam.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Barvella was in it a lot, and it made me interested. I'm like, oh, who is this guy? And that's how I got into Cradle of Filth as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Danny Filth was on it once, but
I remember it.
Yeah. So yeah, to me, this is the first album I fell in love with of him, and since then I went back to their other catalog and obviously continued their career since. But yeah, to me, you know, songs like Greater Love by Love, The Sacrament, I love that track. The Sacrament is such a beautiful like harmony, like such a nice blissful track to me. And funny enough, because I was raised Christian, the song The Sacrament, I'm like, oh shit, The Sacrament, and then it reminds me of Sacrament, like a church. So I remember playing that song in my head. I was like, oh, this is the one metal song that I can play to my parents and they won't get upset. Like, it's called The Sacrament.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I love that song too. The piano at the start, it's so beautiful. It's very melancholic kind of, but as soon as that it sounds like a theremin. It could be a synth of it, but it actually, as you listen to it, I can imagine a lad in the studio waving his arm around in the air. But as soon as the piano kind of pauses and then the theremin kicks in with that whoop, and then it just kicks in.
Yeah,
it's absolutely it does put give you like goosebumps. It's special, like, you know.
Yeah. You know, I always find it interesting whenever because I showed you I listened to the album like 2 days ago again, and it's funny how you go from such a mainstream banger like Buried Alive by Love, and then as soon as that song ends, because it's a 5-minute song, as soon as that song ends, you hear that wailing vocals of Funeral of Hearts. It's just, I find it so interesting how it goes from hard banging that song and then a soft, almost acoustic like Funeral of Hearts, and then the pace slows right down.
Dude, the Funeral of Hearts is probably one of my favorites. Like, because we spoke about it last week. I got a mandolin and I'm all about the mandolin at the minute. And years ago, I would have listened to that track and the acoustic would have jumped out at me. But this time, listening back to it now, that I'm a mandolin daddy.
Yeah.
The mandolin on the acoustic at the start of that, it just draws me in. It's just a beautiful combination. Like, and that's a thing they do a lot. They just get the intros just right to just draw you in, don't they?
Yeah. And from a critic's perspective, it's like, I mean, like obviously I'm a bit biased because I'm a massive H.I.M fan, but from a critic's standpoint, it's like so many bands, they don't understand the importance of a proper intro, a good intro. Like, most bands probably think, oh, I'll just record whatever for 3 minutes, release it on the album. But it's like, prime example here, it's like, and actually a lot on your album, Sagas, it's like, you knew how to put a proper intro leading into the tracks, because otherwise, Where's the momentum? Where's the build up? Where's, and him had that in every track. Every track had a solid intro to lead you into the mood or the aesthetic that they wanted.
Yeah, it's crazy how important it is and how it's overlooked. Thanks for pointing out my album, man, because I really do put effort into the intros. I probably put more effort into the intros than the rest of the song, in fairness.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, go on.
You need premise. You need proper premise for the songs.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I mean, they do that. Yeah, you're right to do that in all of them. Like, Fortress of Tears, that's the set, has like this lovely, nice riff, and there's like a half beat drum that kicks in, and it does. I'm just trying to think of what else they would have had lovely intros. They have a lot of acoustic and clean intros, which is nice, kind of softly pulling you in, like. Unlike what is it, Soul on Fire? That one just blasts straight in, and I like that. I like that rocker.
The other day.
We were, yeah. I like that straightforward rocker tune. Like it probably. You were saying it's probably not the best.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my issue with it, and obviously we're going to have our special segment at the end of the podcast that we discussed.
Won't give that away, yeah.
But Soul on Fire. So to me, and this goes for every time I listen to the album. To me, you have that solid intro, right? Dun, 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 however it goes. But then you have a minute or so of just slow, like, the verse is slow, and then it picks back up for the pre-chorus and the chorus. And it's like, you can't do, I mean, obviously you can do that, but to me, it's just like, I'm more hyped up on the intro. I'm waiting for the chorus to get hyped up again. But then in between, it's just too slow for me. Like, to me, it's like, you can't have a crazy high intro, a crazy high chorus, but then the rest is slow and kind of moody. And it's like, what? Because my adrenaline doesn't know what to do. I have weird adrenaline, but it's not satisfied by the verses.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, it was a big thing in the 90s. It's probably why I don't mind it so much. That where the guitar would always drop out in the verses. Like all the big grunge bands used to do that. Like Nirvana's one example. But they just drop out. And I suppose, it would be, it could be a generational thing, man. I'm just a bit of an old cat compared to you, but so maybe that's what it is there. But yeah, it wouldn't be the strongest song on the album, I wouldn't say. But I do like that straight beat. Like, it's funny, there's a lot of effort put in nowadays to technical drums and overusing fills, and there's nothing like a nice straight beat, straight rocking tune, just especially in the middle of an album. But they didn't really pull it off, but like, done all right.
I was thinking, like, I always found the song Beyond Redemption interesting. I wouldn't say it's the strongest song, but it's interesting because to me it has that weird, like, synthy. It's very, like, it has a weird, not electronic. I don't want to go that direction, but it has like a weird, like, very what's the other go? Like it's to me, synthy is the word that comes up. Like, it's very because you have the weird distorted vocals by Wow, but to me it's like a weird futuristic kind of rock, or like an ambient rock attempt by him. So I think it's funny because you have Buried Alive by Love, which is a crazy rock banger. You have the slow and moody Funeral Path, and then you have this weird synthy futuristic.
It's a weird one. It is, man. It's like a weird Spaghetti Junction Western guitar lick in there as well, and it's like, what the hell were they smoking that day? Like, what I mean?
That being Beyond Redemption.
Yeah. Oh, that's Beyond Redemption. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Sure. Like, but we are talking about Beyond Redemption, aren't we? There's an octave pedal solo in that though. That's really nice. It's like this. I love that octave pedal stuff that you hear nowadays. But back then it was sparse. You wouldn't hear it that often, unless you were listening to Rage Against the Machine or something, maybe. But like, even them, they don't really use it. But I really like that solo. I think for me, that's one of my favorite parts of the whole album, actually.
Yeah.
From a guitar player point of view, kind of thing. But that Western lick, it kind of made me chuckle, though. It made me laugh. Like, I was like, that is comical. I like that. But it was really nice at the same time. Probably the best part of the song too, apart from the song.
The one, a song that I think doesn't get enough credit, but I mean, not that I've talked to anyone about it besides you, but I think the song that's really catchy, that's really like, it's really groovy, but it's also very heartfelt, is Endless Dark.
Yeah.
Because it's the third last track on the album, and it just has this like groove to it, and the chorus, how he extends it, Endless Dark, and then it has like the he extends that dark note, and it has that groovy like kind of a pop rock feel to it in the chorus.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. You know what? I was thinking to myself while I was listening back to it this week, I was like, that's kind of like the epitome of what love metal would be if it was a genre. They kind of like put all their eggs in the one basket on that song. I think it sums up the whole album for me. I think they're doing a good job on that one, yeah. But yeah, love metal. That should be the poster boy for love metal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who else is doing love metal?
Yeah, of course. I might do Ren, Marabou, and Berserker love metal, Viking love metal.
That would be sick.
Yeah, dude.
But I find it interesting because it's like, it's like, look, if you go back to, let's say, Razorblade Romance, which I think now has to be my favorite album by him. The more I've researched albums, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, one day. But Razorblade Romance, to me, it was so much more of it felt like a story. It felt like a conceptual, like a tragic love story. And it was so dark, so moody, and so like, not depressing, but just so tragic in the way that it sounds. But here, every time I listen to love metal, I just think of like a nice mainstream, well-produced, well-oiled, like it's just him going out trying to hit for the fences. Like, who cares about conceptuality? Let's just hit a home run. Let's do what we do well and just make a great album. That's it. Just make a great album.
Yeah, no messing around. Just get the job done, kind of thing. Well, it's interesting you say that. I know we're going back to Razorblade Romance, but the cover, it wasn't that pink. The artwork was pink. That was like a pink. I thought that was really interesting. How it was quite a dark album, but then they gave it that pink kind of cover, like, and it was just like, that's amazing. I remember my dad buying me that for Christmas one year. It was like, because he was always my big influence on music, and he's such a broad, open mind towards music. And he'd be like, "What album do you want for Christmas?" And I picked this. At the time, CDs were like stupid money. I mean, I think he paid like £23 for it. Like, it was quite expensive. And this landed on Christmas, and I was sitting, Christmas, all this lovely Christmas happiness, and I'm there listening to that. It's just a really funny, something different for Christmas,
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Last comment about Razorblade Romance, it's actually quite interesting because there was with that album specifically, turns out there was an error in the production, and the production team actually made like 100 copies of the album that said her.
No way.
Instead of him.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Till this day, it's one of the rarest albums to collect, because to find the her edition, is impossible.
That's actually pretty badass. Like, they should put out special editions like that, actually.
Yeah,
Jeez,
so
that's cool.
Pretty funny, but because if you think about it, the album that came after this, Dark Light, it's just it's so in the middle, because I feel like Dark Light followed the mainstream trend that they were going for. But yeah, to me, love metal is just the start. It's the start of them going, we've done conceptual albums before, we've done dark, tragic albums before. Let's just do our blend of, I guess, goth rock. I don't know what you call it. Goth metal.
Yeah, goth was quite big back in the early 2000s as well. But even the artwork, like, I'm looking here because I have I was listening to it on CD. I was old school, driving around the car listening to it this week. But the cover has this really nice, it's just like a gold heartogram, but on behind the heartogram is like black matte with like shiny black on top of it, and it sticks out off the page. It's really interesting and striking, you know. And then on the
Yeah.
inside, all the pages are gold on the inside, and it's handwritten.
Oh,
And beside everybody's photograph, there's like, say, like a picture of a guitar, or beside Vil Vallo, there's like a picture of a microphone. I just think it was just absolutely badass when I got that first. I was like, oh, dude, this is amazing. Trying to understand the squiggles that he wrote. I I presume it's Vil Vallo's handwriting, like, because he wrote all the lyrics, like. But yeah, I just thought that was a beautiful addition to the album. Was the artwork. Back in the day when people actually cared about that kind of stuff. But even the disc is pretty sweet too.
yeah.
It's just the hymn. It would be cool if I had a her, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That would be
I'm gonna
cool.
be googling that later on, man. I'm gonna be trying to find that.
Aha, the
I'll give you.
moment's come. You've gone red again.
Yeah. Oh, I've gone red again, have I? Ah, nice.
Nice. It's going to be a weekly occurrence.
Yeah. That's when things get serious, when my picture goes red here. Yeah.
So
Cool.
what do you think? So what's your opinion on Val Vallo's vocal performances in this album compared to previous albums?
Yeah, I think he done a good job. I mean, I've always been a little bit unsure about his over exaggerated intakes of air that he does at the end of lyrics or lines and stuff. It really works for him, but I debate in my own mind whether he overdoes it or whether it's intentional or if it's just the way he does it. Because I know myself, when I'm behind the microphone, I make all kind of weird noises, you know, like, so it's probably just like a natural thing for him. Like, but he does actually have, I think people underrate him in a vocal sense, because he's almost classically singing. The way he sings, he's a lot better as a vocalist than people give him credit for. Let's put him that way. His deep vocals are absolutely magic. He goes right down like Barry White low. Yeah, he does real good, really good. But lyrically, it is kind of like a masterpiece in a way, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
See, that's the thing. Like, to me, I think, this album sounds like he's kind of settling for, to me anyway, for Val Vallo. To me, this is Val Vallo settling for a decent performance without going out of his way to do an amazing performance. So, for example, if you listen to Razorblade Romance and you listen to all the different vocal fluctuations, you listen to his deep notes, you listen to his high notes, he goes absolutely insane on that album. Like, he shows you 100% of what he's capable of, and it's insane. Like as you said, he can hit ridiculous low notes. He hit those highs, but on this album, I just feel like he's just in the middle. He's like, all right, I know I can sing. I've already shown you on past albums that I can sing, that I can go far and beyond. But on this album, I'm just gonna, because on this album, it doesn't feel like his range is that much. It's not as much as other albums. So to me, that sounds like, look, let's try to do a mainstream album. Let's get a bunch of bangers out there. Let's just do what we do well without going above and beyond.
Yeah, he probably took an easy route at it, and as well as that, like, I find a lot of, like, it's their fourth album, so I think a lot of bands, when they get to that stage, they try to make things easy for themselves on tour. And the fact that they had a rough tour before that, a long, arduous kind of affair, they kind of killed themselves. So they probably were like, right, well, let's write some tracks for this album that when we go on tour, I don't have to push myself as much on stage vocally, or you boys on, like, the drummer done a fantastic job on this album, but he kept it to probably his minimum technical. He probably just, like, he threw in a lot of kind of flams and a few nice bits and, like, lovely fills, but he reserved them so that, I suppose, when he goes playing live and it comes to the new album tracks, he can kind of take it easy a little bit. But I think there might have been a lot of thought behind that. that's yeah, because like he definitely didn't pull it off the performance as he did on the other albums, but he done quite well for what it is, I think.
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, to me, the only song where he actually goes above and beyond is "Buried Alive by Love." I feel like the third leg of that song, how he's doing those vocal like,
dude, that like, he does all this like, it's pretty wicked. Like,
but after that, he just kind of sticks to the basics, I feel. I mean, think about it. Can you imagine how much better the song, let's say, "Funeral of Hearts" would be had he have actually gone lower register? Had he have actually tried, like, how much more dramatic, how much more emotional that song could have been? And you know, the way he did it, it's not a bad song and it's not a bad album, but to me, especially if you listen to his previous albums, this is definitely just like, I feel mean saying this, but mediocre compared to what he's capable of. And you know, like, funny enough, I actually think his album, Screamworks, Love in Theory and Practice, I feel like that album, he goes back to showing his true self. He goes back to showing his vocal performances, even though the style's changed. It's more like alternative rock, pop rock, but I feel like his vocals have gone back. His vocals there's more fluctuations, there's more experimenting, there's more freelancing singing style. So yeah, to me, Love Metal, singing wise, it's not his best performance. He just keeps it in the middle. He keeps it steady.
No, I think you're bang on, because like, what the next album was, what, Venus Doom? Was that the next one? And even
Dark Light.
Oh yeah, Dark Light, sorry. But Venus Doom, if you think about that track, when you were talking about his range, do you remember how low he goes at the end of Venus Doom? Like, it's stupid low. I don't think you can go.
Oh yeah, the first track.
You know, it's mega.
Sleepwalking Past Hope.
Sleepwalking
on Venus Doom. The halfway point, I completely forgot about this track. Sleepwalking Past Hope on Venus Doom, halfway in, they slow the pace right down. And I'm not sure if you have heard that song, but Bile goes way, way, way down. Like, he goes like 2 seconds, he goes like, it's almost grunt. It's like a grunt, like a grunt.
Yeah.
It's so insane. I mean, he picks it back up, but
that
album's amazing. That album is.
Yeah. I know, we need to chat about. We should just turn this into the H.I.M podcast. Just chat about them boys. But you know, without deviating too much from this album, he definitely he phoned it in a way, but not too bad. Not you know, he could have really phoned it in. Like, but it's interesting that the melody. He seemed to put a lot of effort into his melody more than his actual technical side. But when they got a good melody, they milked the shit out of it. Like Funeral of Hearts melody, that melody just goes through the entire song. You know, loves the Funeral of Hearts. It's like the piano does it, the guitars do it. Like, if the drums were able to play a melody, they'd be playing that melody as well, you know. But it worked. It's really good. It's nice, like. So I think that might be where he put most of his effort into.
You know, thinking about Love Metal, I do like how the song to close it all off, Love Requiem. I like how it ends on kind of a more serious, more tragic note. There's a very he's taking a very somber approach. To me, when I listen to the final track, I just picture Val Bello sitting back in his chair with a microphone, just thinking about all his mistakes and tragedies.
Yeah. He's going into himself. But it's interesting because on my version of the album, the last track is Path. It's like as if years later they added Love Requiem as a bonus end album. Even on Spotify, it's Love Requiem. And I find that extra interesting because I'll talk about that later on. I don't want to ruin it too much, but I think that's a beautiful song. And the fact that it was added later on, because my copy would have been 2003, probably one of the original prints of it. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, wicked! There's an extra song on this, because when I listened to Spotify during the week, I was like, ah, unless it's a ghost track, it could be a ghost track in this, because I thought I knew it. I felt like I knew the song.
Well, so on my end, because I use YouTube Music.
Yeah.
On my end, the final track is 8 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, right. I don't know the time scale, but it sounds about right, yeah, because it does. There's a long drags on, but I was gonna save this for the last segment, but yeah, it has that the vintage vibe piano at the start. Is that the one? Yeah. Oh, dude, I could talk about that for hours, man. I love that so much.
Great way to end the album.
Fabulous, like.
And you know, also, I think, like as you talked about, the album cover deserves some attention because it's just so simple, but it's so elegant. Yeah. It's like, it's just a golden heartogram with, as you said, patterns at the back.
Yeah, man. Like, absolutely. I think said to you last week that I tattooed that on my foot, the heartogram on my foot. Yeah. On the inside of the back. I don't know why I did it. It was more like, because we spoke last week about my nanny and stuff, and it was like kind of like a homage to her, which sounds weird. It's like a heartogram to represent your nanny, but like it just, you know, felt right at the time. But yeah, no, I proudly wear my heartogram. I'll probably get a bit of stick about that, but you know, I proudly wear that. But I think the first time I seen that, did Bam Margera get that tattooed? I think.
Yeah, you got it like here.
Yeah. I think that's where I got the idea from.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And I have a good friend. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he has that tattooed as well, and it looks badass. He has it on his hand.
Have you seen Steve-O's one, Jackass? Have you seen his heartogram?
Did he get one? Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. He has so yeah, from Jackass, Steve-O has a heartogram, but
yeah, instead
of the end being the pointy upside down triangle, he drew a dick, penis.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, believe it, sure. He has himself.
Yeah, there's a video of Steve-O showing Bam as soon as he got it, and Bam's like, "What the fuck have you done?" Like, thought it was funny.
A pure nutter, man. Yeah, but if anybody that tattooed themselves laughing on their back, like, you know, he's not the full shilling, as we say over here.
All right, so let's go with what's your favorite track and why?
My favorite track, I was just going into there, is probably Love's Requiem, whatever it's called. Because of the vintage piano vibe piano, that just straight away is one of my favorite instruments. We were talking last week about instruments. What other instruments would I bring in if I had them? And they're stupid money as well. So that's on my hit list. So anybody out there that has one of them, hit me up. But I love them, the use of them in so many great albums, like, you know, way back to Deep Purple and Queens of Stone Age. But for me, Richie Kotzen really, like, when you see Richie Kotzen sitting behind one of them, it's just magical. So when I heard that on this record, it just came out of nowhere for me, because they use a lot of instrumentation on this album, and a lot of it's kind of like repeated, and there's lovely layers added around. But the vibe didn't come out until the very end, and like it took me by surprise. And it's just a lovely, like, the album just has so many layers and it grows. It's just I don't know. For me, that would be the standout album anyway. It's just and they mention he has like a lyric in it, "Dying Light," so he's kind of giving you a little bit of a taster for the next album.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. So, but it's got like a lovely blues vibe, and there's like a chorus of layered vocals, which I love too, because I'd sit in the music room just layering vocals all day. Like, it's one of my favorite things to hear and do. So yeah, that would be my favorite. Did you ask me what my least favorite was?
Well, we will get to that towards the end.
We'll get to that, right? I'm jumping the gun. I'm too excited. I want to say that song's shite, man. Well, what was your favorite album, dude?
For me, it had to be easily "Buried Alive" by Love. That song, it's the first song I heard of him, I'm pretty sure. And to this day, that rocking energy, that fast-paced vibe, the singing performances towards the back end of the track by Val, it's just, you can tell he's passionate in that song. There's energy. He's just, he says to himself, all right, one song of the album, we're going to just go nuts. And I feel like that's the song. And I just love how, I love the aesthetic. I love the vibe. I love how groovy it is, rocking it is. For a 5-minute song, 5 minute and 1 second. So
is it? Yeah. Wow, I didn't realize that. Jeez, you wouldn't feel it now.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like 5 minutes. You listen to it and you're just rocking and
dude, that's excellent. Probably would have been my favorite had I not heard this bonus track on Spotify during the week. Well, I call it bonus track. Yeah, but definitely I would have agreed with you on that one.
Nice.
You know?
Well, now it's time for the segment we're going to debut here on this episode. Time to play Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate.
What a fun name. So I'll let you start. What is the most shite song on the album?
Did I teach you that word tonight? Shite. Love it, dude. Love it. The shitest song on the album. Well, there is none. In all fairness, they're all good. But for me, the only song that there was a moment where I wasn't completely feeling it was just the chorus on Sweet Pandemonium. I think the chorus kind of dragged out a bit. And I don't know, have you heard of a band called Fight Star? Yeah, we've a pop band it's over in England anyway, it's not here, but they're called Busted, and they have this pop vibe. It was back in maybe the early 2000s. But something about Ville's vocals on that track, on the chorus, just sounds like him. I like Fight Star, obviously, because they're rocking, but I dislike Busted. So there's like always been this love-hate thing with your man's voice. But Valo, on that chorus, I felt he got a little lazy. It's it's a pleasant song, like it is. It's nice to have on the background. But compared to the rest of them, I think that one didn't really float my boat as much as I wanted it. But I feel bad for saying it, but I'm just not a huge fan of the chorus. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's called Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, it does its job. Like, it's good. It just doesn't float my Viking ship as well as the rest of them.
I can imagine that you're going to a pillage and you're just listening to love metal. I'm not feeling this song.
Yeah, dude.
Can you imagine a whole group of Vikings just like singing funeral parts? Funeral parts.
That'd be actually pretty cool. Yeah, that's a nice.
That would be quite the scene to see.
What about you? What's your least favorite one?
I think it's pretty easy. We discussed it a few days ago. We had our first music debate argument. Soul on Fire. It's, again, because we're playing Devil's Advocate, none of these songs are bad. It's just if we have to choose one.
Yeah.
And to me, Soul on Fire, it's not a bad song. It's just, I just don't like, well, to me, the inconsistencies of pace. And as I was going to say earlier, but I think now's the perfect time to listen to bring it up. So the other day, I was re-listening to a band, the second album by the band Dead Kennedys. I don't know if you know that band, but they're a punk band and from the 90s. And anyway, they're a punk band and they had a lot of moments where it would be fast and slow. But what I liked about their music is whenever they brought it down to a slower pace, they always had a reason. They were building up to like something they were saying a certain sentence that had to be heard loud and clear, so it had to be slow. Like they had reasons before they built it back up. To me, Soul on Fire is just fast and slow for no reason. It's just to me, the verses that are slow in between the fast chorus and intro, I don't think justifies the speed, the tempo. To me, it's just like you don't have to be this slow. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, speed up, lads. There's no excuse. No, do you know what's funny? Because I had this exact same conversation about 20 years ago with a drummer I was in a band with at the time. And Bill, if you're out there, he's probably not listening, but he had the very same opinion as you, like, and I always found it really interesting, and it did stick to me, and it did. When I was writing my own tunes, it did kind of like sink in, and I used it to my advantage, because that is a very easy way or easy route to go when it comes to songwriting. It's like, yep, heavy, fast, slow, chorus, it's just like, I'll just dish it out. It's like a simple way of doing it, but you're right. Call them on their laziness, man.
Yeah, but see, look. Here's the thing. So hypothetically, if you were making a song, right? Let's just say you released. Let's just say you're making a new song for the Berserkers, and so let's just say you made a song. It was fast paced, and then you slowed it down, right? You guys slowed it down, and then in between the slow part, you sang a line and said something like, I am born of Vikings, that is my family. That is a good line, and that's a reason to slow it down. We need to hear that. That's important to you. It's important to the song. Fair enough, slow the song down. But alternatively, if you did the same thing, slowed the song down and said something random, like, oh, she broke my heart, I'm shattered. It's like, I couldn't care less. Like, pick the song back.
No, in fairness, he doesn't do much on that verse in Fallow, in all fairness. He does.
The lyrics aren't even that interesting. No. It's like, there's no reason for this slow part. Like, it doesn't, I mean, like, the band could have taken it down a few notches. They didn't have to take it all the way down. Because you have, like, so every time I listen to that song, I'm waiting for the chorus in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dude, big props to the bass player, though. The bass player on that track, he was like, no, F yous, I'm not doing it. And he pumps, he hit it real down low in the mix, but he's playing the same riff that's in the chorus, and it's distorted. He has like, no, hit me joy pedal, but the engineer just kind of faded him out. So he's real low. He's trying to keep it real. He's trying to keep it rocking, but they dragged him out. Like, so I felt sorry for him that day. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I love him. He's trying.
That reminds me. Are you familiar with the band Deathblock?
Deathblock? No.
Yeah, they have that cartoon Metapocalypse.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, I've heard that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that show, Metapocalypse?
I've seen a few clips. Is Brent Hines in that now?
Deathblock. So the band Deathblock is the characters. It's like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And,
right.
But it's so funny because it's a show about the band, the death metal band, and so in the show, whenever you see them playing the music, the sound engineers, they always turn off the bass player. They always turn him down, and it's like there's no reason for him to be there. Just always turn him down.
They just they're getting off a stick, but like Jays would be lost without them. Cass, I'd be lost without you, man. He's always telling me like, you're playing the wrong riff, man. You need to play this.
So one last thing before we wrap this up, and you have to tell the truth, even though obviously your band's gonna hear it. Has there ever been a moment recording albums, recording songs, where you have turned down or faded another band members without telling them?
Well, let me see. I'm sure that's happened to me. I'm sure they faded me out. Like, Jesus, your man's voice is awful on that track. But no, I think we've been. Yeah, no, it probably has happened. I might have already mentioned his name on the podcast already, like, but yeah, sometimes it needs to be done, especially when you're a young band and you're only kind of getting started. There's always going to be one really bad loose cog that you need to drown out. It was probably me for a long time.
Wow,
that's the closest honest I can get.
I'm sure it should be. I'm sure after your band listens to this episode, they're gonna look at you like twice now, just keep you in the distance.
What's happening with this mix? Yeah, they'll be like, here, listen.
as soon as it gets to the mixing, you're going to see the whole band around you watching intently.
Wanting to get involved in the mix. We're like, yeah, we know you like to do the mix around, but like, you know, let's see, you know.
All right, cool. So yeah, that's today's episode. We talked about love metal, and next week I'm going to let you all know we'll be talking about an album from Dimmu Borgir. You have to turn in next week to find out which. But it's from Dimmu Borgir, however you say it.
I'm not even gonna try, man.
Borgir. So if you want to plug what you're doing, you know, this week.
What have I done this week? Sure, we had a lovely photo shoot. If anybody wants to check out our page, Ren, Marabou and the Berserkers. But a new video came out this week, didn't it? SAGAS, the Dragon Slayer. A wicked video, animation. Check it out. That's all I have this week.
Nice. Well, I have a Facebook group, Relentless Reviews of Chords. We can go there. I have I've published so many bands, so many artists. I forget half the time who I've done, but there's tons. Except this month, I'll be taking a break because I'll be having annual leave soon. So I'm just gonna take it slow for a bit, relax, do the podcast, and next month I'll be all ready to go and all energized. So, but in the meantime, there's literally, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 380 reviews published, and like 17 interviews, all posted on my group. So go check them out.
Yeah, check them out, everybody. It's like the best. Do you know what? I've never read a review of a band and fully enjoyed it like I do yours. You just have a lovely insight, man. So check it out, everybody. The dude knows his stuff.
I try my best.
He does good.
Nice. So yeah, next week we will be back. Hopefully Thursday, if I have a day. Actually, next week I start annual leave, so I'll definitely have Thursday. So we'll be airing on Thursday. And real quick, what was that thing you wanted us to say at the end? What was that thing?
I don't know.
I'm going through the messages now.
Maybe it was. Oh, do you know what? My thing I've always wanted to say was from Batman, the original Batman TV show. Same time, same place, or something. Same place, same channel.
That should be it. That's what we should do. Same time, same place, or something.
Yeah,
that's how we end the show. Come from the Berserker's mouth himself.
Well, this it just lets people know that this has been fully rehearsed and that we're. My missus after walking in, look at her. Wait, what's going on? She's over here looking at me, man. I'm not listening. She's trying to scare me. Listen, I know we're going off topic altogether, but she's terrible for them jump scares. Like, I came in here the last day with a student I was teaching drums to, and she was hiding behind my desk here, scared the life out of me, man. So one of these weeks, you'll get a message going, sorry, Ren can't do the podcast because you had a heart attack.
Oh, well, should be fun. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, wicked, man. Well, as we say out in Ireland, same place, same channel.
Same place, same channel, or something.
Or something.
I love it.
Thanks, everyone.
Right. We'll see each other next week.
Catch you later, brother.
See you later.